Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you. Far across and so I cried so hard when I gets to get it up, but in my head, and so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I sing and get real high. Thinking about my own, what's going on? It's right. Try all the time in this institution. And he prays. I got to breathe. Afraid to say Tag team, back again. Check it to record, let's begin. Party on, party people, let me hear some noise. DC's in the house, jump with yours. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These three words, when you get to this, say, whoa, there it is, big man.
All right. That new intro brought to you by Nathan.
Welcome.
That was interesting.
That was the new show that XFF is, or not XFF. Whoa.
Oh,
IFL is putting out.
Ruh-roh.
Buddies. I think it's run by John and Luke, and then Shipbird and Miami just produce. So
there's 4 people on that thing?
no, I just said 2 of them are producers.
Oh, okay.
So
Listen, I didn't hear the other 2, but I was driving. So, if you are new to the show, we are Educated Guesses. This is our 2nd episode of the season. We just kind of hang out and BS about football and the league and shit like that.
buddy.
I guess we forgot our little name tags there. I think Matt was really concerned that people didn't know who we were. So, I'm Spencer with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Travis with the Buffalo Bills.
Nathan with Jacksonville.
So we're kind of in the middle of the draft right now. I shouldn't say middle. We're in the latter half, probably for most teams. I think the average roster, at least in the AFC, is probably right around mid to upper 20s. Wouldn't you say?
I think it's a little higher than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, you're probably right. It's probably around upper 20s.
So most of the big names are gone. People are filling in holes they have and getting depth and trying to find those steals and fill out that roster. So we had a pretty big mailbag this week. I'm not sure if that's where you wanted to start or if you wanted to go over some of our busts and wins of the draft.
I'm cool with doing the mailbag first.
All right.
I always like that. Well, not always, because some of the questions are not kind. But I like it most of the time.
Do we want to start with the first one we got from Josh? I'm not sure which Josh, because I think there's like 10 of them in this league.
I think it might be Josh .0.
Okay, well, a Josh, whichever one.
Jay Herm?
I don't know who that is.
I assume it's Josh Herm something. Frisco Josh, if you will.
Well, whoever it is, they write, Nate, I really like your team. Who do you see as your main competition in the South?
It's a tough question right now. I want to
Jay
say
Herm, bring in the ball busters.
what?
The Jay Herm, bring in the ball busters.
I know. I actually think it's probably Jason, to be honest, right now.
What team is that?
Jason of Tennessee Titans. He's just got a pretty strong offense with Odell and Le'Veon and Cam Newton. I mean, he's just got a pretty strong starting core. But I think right up next to him, as I kind of go through people's rosters, I think Eric is right there. He's gotten some sneaky picks. Peru's not really on my radar right now, so. Other than the fact he just keeps bidding up $25K every time, so it's the only radar he's on.
Yeah, it looks like he invested a lot of his money into a lot of question marks.
Yeah. He's been racking up those want-to-get-punched in the face votes on the poll.
Yeah.
He's actually,
I really want to see the result on that, because I have a surprising number of those.
He's tied with Shepard last time I looked, 6-6.
And I didn't realize you could vote for more than one person, so I just put the one person down. So.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, same with me. I think I have the most, though, which is confusing to me. I have 5. I'm tied with 2 people.
I'm gonna say one of them was Shipbird. For sure.
I think Shipbird just probably voted for everybody.
He's so butthurt. All right.
Oh, wow. I know we have a chat that actually is active.
All right, next question.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, my tablet.
I got it. It says, Nate, talk to me about Hodges and why you went $1.5 million for him. I'm a Niner fan who has liked his game for a long time, so I'm biased.
Well, I snuck in. I think Gerald Hodges was one of the first linebackers. He wasn't one of the first nominated, but he came in with some of the bigger names in the AFC. And I think Decker tried sneaking him in. And I knew him from his time with the Vikings, and I knew they always considered him kind of being a good linebacker. He just doesn't have the football intelligence they wanted for Zimmer's offense. And I know he'll probably get a pretty decent shot in San Francisco, so kind of banking on him a little bit to perform well. And I think 1.5 for a starting linebacker is compared to what some of them were going at was actually a pretty good deal. So I'm happy I kind of snuck away with him.
Yeah. Well, Hodges fucking crushes it, Madden. He's a fucking beast.
He's a really athletic dude. It's just exactly like you said, Nate. They basically traded him because he didn't really have the football IQ to play in Zimmer's defense.
Yeah. They said he had all the tangibles that you want in a linebacker. He just wasn't smart enough to pick up Zimmer's defense. So
yeah. So if he goes to a simpler scheme where he just uses athleticism, I think he'll do really well.
Yeah. So and I followed him a little bit last year, and it looked like he did well. And like I said, 1.5 is kind of chump change for most linebackers that were going in our or in the AFC at least.
Yeah, you got to take some gambles. You can't only bet on sure things. And shit, 1.5 million is not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
1% of our salary cap.
Yeah.
Less than that. Yeah. 0.75% or whatever. Yeah, that's. All right, so this is why sometimes I don't like the questions. Travis, you know how I feel about Jarvis Landry, so I'll just stop there. Then he says, your depth at QB is impressive. Are you excited about RG3 going to the Browns? I can't tell if you're being serious or if you're just like fucking making fun of me, but I was, when I bid on him, I was actually hoping he went to either the Browns or the Broncos. I figured he wouldn't go to the Broncos and he would go to the Browns. But I figured I could put a little bit of money on him. I mean, he hasn't really played. He's been behind Cousins because Cousins been playing well. They mishandled him a lot in Washington, and we all saw his rookie season. So if he can perform even close to that level and some get to be a little bit better of a pocket passer. If he's learned anything in the past few years, I think he'll. I basically just took a shot on him, maybe doing really well. It's also totally likely that he goes to the Browns and just shits the fucking bed, and nothing comes of it. But I figured it was worth a shot, especially since I didn't really notice that all of the fucking QBs like went right away. So I was kind of stuck, like, just picking up the fucking scraps on my way by.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about that Brown signing for me is they said the biggest part of it was Marvin Lewis being instrumental in getting the signs. That means the coach is behind, it's not just a GM or owner thing. That gives me a little bit more confidence in him.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got two guys like that. Two guys that could do well or could suck. Kaepernick is obviously the less talented of the two. And then that's why I had to bid like $4.5 million on Sam Bradford. Because I had to get somebody, so. Anyway, enough about that unfortunate aspect of my team. Spencer, I heard on your call to the slumbering Dunderheads that you've been traveling a lot this auction. Did it affect you at all? I like the tight end core you're rolling out.
Yeah, it really fucked me over good for like especially the first like 2 days until Sunday night. I got on my laptop actually. So until Sunday night, everything was on my phone. Yeah, it's really hard to switch between spreadsheets and the draft on your phone. But I think it wouldn't have played out too much differently because I had a plan going into the draft, and I just went out the fucking window with those wide receiver prices. So I just rolled in the opposite direction. You got to zig when they zag.
Is that the last of that group?
Was there another part of that question? I passed out.
They said I like the tight end core you're rolling out, but that's.
Oh.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are underestimating the value of. I mean, I think they came into the party late. I think once they realized, I think it was both you and Brad were just kind of snagging up all the tight ends. I think everyone took a second look at it and realized that there might be some potential there.
Yeah, I think the last one to go was like Eric Reed, and he went for like $13 million. So.
Who?
Or Jordan Reed, sorry, not Eric Reed. Jordan Reed. But yeah, he went for like $13 million. Which honestly,
I forget who it was, but somebody was fighting me on Delaney Walker, who I was hoping I could sneak by for like $8 million. But I really had to fight for him. I think I ended up paying him like 11-1 or something. But the dude had a rookie quarterback in an offense with no receivers and a shit run game, and had like 80-some catches and 1,000 yards and only like 4 or 5 touchdowns. But another year, hopefully getting those wide receivers some more talent and get spreading the offense a little bit and getting Walker a little bit more production. But for putting up almost 400 points in the scoring system last year, that's like. I think,
oh yeah, that's worth a couple bucks for sure. All right, the last question from Josh is Spencer. You went 3 QB as well, like Travis. Coincidence, or do you guys see something that the rest of us don't?
Well, my starting 2 quarterbacks are old. I got Carson Palmer. I guess Fitzgerald, or not Fitzgerald. Fitzpatrick isn't as old, but I don't think either of them are long in the long term for this league. So that's why I picked up A.J. McCarron. I've been a fan of him before. I drafted him as a rookie in other leagues. He showed a little bit of talent when Dalton was out last year, and I think it's only a matter of time. Unfortunately, he lost a bunch of receivers, but I think Dalton will be a decent quarterback in the future. So he's a little bit of a lottery pick, but we'll see. I think I can get a year, probably 2 years out of Palmer, and we'll see on Fitzpatrick. But I think you got to have. You don't want to invest a ton of money into that future plan or backup plan, but throw some dollars at it and have somebody in the wing, and if they pay off, then you're way ahead of everybody else.
Yep. And I mean, I already kind of covered why I did it. Like my first 2 QBs that I got were question marks, so I had to get a third that at least had a fucking starting job somewhere at the time of their drafting. So
Would you pay for Foles? Was it Foles or Bradford?
It was Bradford, 4.5, which is
Yeah,
it's more than I wanted to pay for him, but I didn't really have a choice. It's either that or trade for somebody like Roethlisberger. Yeah, I don't want Drew Brees. He's a good quarterback, but I irrationally hate him, so I don't want him. So there's no real football reason I don't want him. I just fucking hate that guy. So, but yeah, so that's why I did it. I had to have somebody that at least is a starter. So, okay, next is Brad. All right, I guess I'll read it. Would Spencer let Ronda Rousey speed bag his ball sack if it means he gets to take her out to dinner? and then he replied to his own email, ha 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 ha.
So who said that?
Brad.
Well, let's clear some things up. I was just fascinated with her impact on the sport. That's about it. But no, I would not let anybody speed bag me.
All right, he did have an actual, well, not really another actual question, but a decent question. He said, is Hellraven building an infirmary or a football team?
Infirmary.
Yeah.
I'm going to say infirmary. I think he got in trouble when he overpaid for one particular player, and that kind of set him back quite a bit. So, but just to add to that, I just got a breaking news question from Miami Brad. He wants me to play this first. Okay, that's enough of that. It was the MASH TV show theme. He says, how many wins does the Raven get this season? What do you guys think?
Let me look at his roster real fast.
Well, I don't know the schedule, but
I mean, he's got to play his division twice.
It's not going to be easy.
No, he's got to go up. He's got some tough competition. I mean,
he does, his offense isn't bad. I mean, he does have a lot of, injury, prone players. But he's got Devontae Freeman, Des Bryant, Alshon Jeffrey, Rob Gronkowski, Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
But do you think he's relying too much on the big names from last year, and he paid them a pretty penny?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Cap space quite a bit.
His defense is actually, his linebackers aren't bad. His safeties aren't great. Not terrible. I don't know. I don't think his team's all that bad. I think he can probably go 6 wins plus, I bet.
He was the one who I was texting you guys about. I said, is there something we don't know about Michael Griffin? Why is he bidding him up so much?
Yeah. I mean,
and none of us knew what he was bidding on.
Yeah, and that might be, that just might be a case of looking at last year and not knowing enough about the player. I mean, we only know about it because he went to the Vikings. I assume that's the only reason you guys know about it.
Well, yeah, and I think we all learned last year. Matt likes, get players that were productive last year. He doesn't try and project towards their future value. He's a purely past player, and so that's what's always.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
That's what's always going to hold him back.
Michael Griffin, though, he benefited from having a really, really shitty front seven in Tennessee. So, a lot of plays made it to that second level. So I think his tackle numbers are inflated, and I think in Minnesota he won't have quite that same success.
Well, plus
even if he does wind up starting, which I don't know that he will. But yeah, I don't know.
He's got to get on the field first. Yeah. We'll see. That was one thing that I remember texting you guys this morning saying, is there something I don't know about this guy?
I'm going to say he will get I'm going to go below 6 wins.
Ooh.
Just because he deserves it. He's so butthurt by me stealing one of his players.
I think he'll go 9 wins but miss the playoffs. Because he's got a really good team and the schedule's a little front-loaded, but those dudes ain't making it to the end of the season.
Yeah.
He's going to rack up them wins early and then coast to fall short.
Okay.
All right, so some wildly differing predictions.
All right, what's the next question?
The next question is it's from Luke. Spencer, who had the better draft, Travis or Nathan?
Let me take a gander here. I should have read these questions before. So far, I like it what I see on Travis's. Is Jamie Collins one that got traded to Arizona, or is that Chandler Jones?
That's Chandler Jones.
Alright. Ignore that. I think
So slow.
Come on,
you guys
man.
got all the players. Hey, you got 42 fucking players, dude. You
Let
have to look at
the
it.
fucking gears turn, all right?
I might have to lean towards Travis.
Wow.
It's close, though.
All right. I love being the underdog.
Running back is what does it for me.
I love being the underdog.
Keep sleeping. Just yell that every time.
Langford and McCoy, I think, are gonna make or pay for their salary.
Okay.
And the fact that he's got Barr and Shazier, who could both have the potential to put up some crazy numbers, assuming Shazier can stay on the field. Although Justin Houston's done for the year.
And
He's going on IR immediately.
my play.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to look because you have like 10 more players than he does.
So you don't think Mosley or Demario Davis can step up for that, or KJ Wright? You think that those linebackers can't compete with Barr, who can't stay on the field, and Sagier, who can't stay on the field?
It's true. I missed C.J. Mosley when I was scanning by the first time, but
It's all right. No, you take Travis because I like being the underdog. This is bullshit. Fuck you. Travis,
All right.
next question.
This is bullshit. Fuck you. Good. Some non-controversial questions. I like it. All right, Nate, your turn. Nate, who had the better draft, Spencer?
Travis. Travis did. No, I mean, I'll be honest. Travis has some interesting big name players. I think what's kind of sneaky about Spencer is the tight end group and how he will utilize them. And then also, if C.J. Anderson can come back, I mean, he's got C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman, so that's good. I think he's got some value at linebacker, but I think the tipping point is that Travis has a little bit more, how do I want to put this, value, I guess. I see overall value in the rest of the positions other than quarterback. I think Spencer, you don't have great quarterbacks. You got, Carson Palmer, you got on a good deal, a hell of a good deal. But
number 5 quarterback of last year.
What?
Number 5 quarterback of last year.
That's cool, El Raven.
Touche.
So he's got, Ryan Fitzpatrick, which will probably, I'm assuming he's probably going to get picked up by the Jets, and AJ McCarron. So Travis, the only thing holding back is right now is QB core between you two.
One thing I want to point out is Ronnie Hillman is a restricted free agent, and the Dolphins still need a running back.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
That
And they've
fucking-
already lost out on C.J. Anderson.
That's small chance.
You never know, man. It was
Yeah,
worth
true. Never know.
it. The guy
All right,
averaged
so I bet I can-
yards
I
per
bet I
carry
can-
last year hitting the free agent market.
I bet I can guess the next question. I
Good
was
read.
right. Travis, who had the better draft, Spencer or Nathan? Honestly, it's really fucking tough. Like, I think both offenses are pretty similar. Nathan has a lot more offensive players, so he's got a lot more choice. At least, in my opinion, a lot more like valuable offensive players. I mean, you've got LeGarrette Blount. I mean, he's a free agent. If he winds up signing somewhere like and getting a decent amount of carries, you got him for like a ridiculously good price. I don't like C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman just because they're both on the same team, and that you can never fucking tell which one of them's gonna have a good game when.
He's gonna have a good game.
Yeah. I mean, you do have, like, you've got Ebron. Calvin Johnson just retired, so he's likely going to see an increase in targets. Zach Ertz, if he can, like, figure his shit out, he should be a good receiving threat. Like you talked about Delaney Walker earlier. I mean, all those guys are good. I love Everson Griffin as an edge rusher. Your linebackers are pretty good. I mean, you got good talent, young talent, in Stephon Anthony and Jordan Hicks. You got Jordan Hicks for a good price, too. Brandon Marshall, Jack Thompson, Bobby Wagner. I mean, you don't have any safeties yet, which is going to hurt you probably. I mean, because there's not a ton left. So, I mean, I have to ding you just for not having a single person at that position. But your QBs are pretty similar. Maybe a slight edge to Spencer. Nathan has Alfred Morris that he got for like $4 million right before he signed with Dallas, so that could turn out to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
But he also paid $10 million for Kelvin Benjamin, so we'll see how that works out.
I don't understand how why everyone hates on Kelvin.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. The only reason I say it's a bad thing is because he missed like the entire fucking season.
Yeah,
So
because he tore his ACL. He's
Yeah.
still that doesn't
that's why.
automatically shut down. Look what Todd Gurley did.
No, I'm not saying it automatically shuts it down. I'm saying sometimes people don't come back from injuries like that, super top notch. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying I can't give him the 100% awesome player tag. Sammy Coates, I think, will do well since Martavis is suspended. We'll see how he does in the long run. You got Edelman, he's good. Hogan for cheap. I think Ladarius Green will do well in Pittsburgh. What else? You got Cliff Averill, that's good. Cameron Hayward's good. Linebacker, yeah, you do have C.J. Mosley, KJ Wright. And I know you were talking to me a lot about how you made a lot of your picks based on like future potential. And I do see a lot of that. And you have all of your position bases covered. So, like I said, it's close, but I think I got to lean towards you on this one, Nate, just a little bit.
So it's split 3 ways.
Yep, split 3 ways.
All right,
Whatever.
enough about our teams. Let's continue.
Nathan, whatever.
I have
There's nothing wrong with multiple teams being strong, Nathan.
I just got one more quick mailbag, new mailbag. So this is from Jai, the one of the commissioners. He says, "All right, for the true question for Spencer, and to settle this Travis/Nathan debate once and for all, whose facial hair does he like better, Travis or Nathan?"
Dude, I'm totally going to lose that.
No, Travis is way better.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Damn, I totally did not think that.
It's got more characteristics and less just all over the place. I guess he keeps it groomed more, I should say.
Oh, yeah, well, like when Nate lets his just like... But it's so big and square, man. He just looks like his jaw is like a fucking anvil when he's got that huge beard. All right, here's another super serious question. Does Nate have enough hair on his head to share with Spencer and Travis?
I think so.
I would
I
say
have hair
probably.
on my body to cover us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if we could use body hair, I'm fine.
Our show has went off the deep end.
All right, here's an actual football question. From Luke again. Why in God's green earth are there so many corners in the AFC over 2 million? Antoine Blake is the third-string corner in Tennessee, Danny.
I have no idea.
You know, I think this is what happened is so the first few days in the AFC, it was offensive position heavy. It was offensive and then linebacker position heavy. And so as the days have kind of started going on here and we start seeing the other defensive players kind of fill in, everyone's looking at the top like cornerbacks from last year, and everybody wanted just to get those top guys on their team. And so we've just seen these these bidding wars kind of go up. And I mean, I'm at fault too. I'm paying somebody 1.5 and 1.4, which is still probably too high for a cornerback. But I think they just got caught in the weird mix of how this whole auction has gone for the AFC.
Yeah, I think part of it is the discrepancies between positions. Like, if you look at cornerback, there's not like a huge gap between points. And again, we're looking at points scored last year, but if I just pull up cornerbacks and look, the top cornerback and the 20th cornerback are 4 points apart.
Yeah.
So I don't see that being a huge pay scale difference. And experience from previous leagues I've been in where there's been cornerbacks. Shoot, I came in with a plan and had 3 or 4 guys, and I ended up rocking waiver wire guys from middle of the season on. So, in my opinion, especially cornerback, it's just a crapshoot.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I had Antoine Blake last year, and I watched him play.
You stole him. So close.
Yeah. The reason that he scores so many points is because he's really fucking bad. He gets beat all the fucking time and gives up catches, but he's fast, so he catches them and tackles them. That's why he has so many fucking points. Not because he's a good quarterback. So that's why he's a fucking third stringer this year, even though his fucking points are way up. It's because he's a bad football player. So, and honestly, I walked into a team with $19 million in cornerbacks, and I have 3 this year. So, $3 million. I learned my lesson. So
I have a little bit more than that, but I just want to update you guys real quick. So we were talking about Matt's safety issue with what was the guy's Griffin was his name?
Yeah.
Currently has a bid for Andrew Sendejo for $600,000. It was a brand new bid, so we made.
If you get him for vet minimum, it's no big deal because it's a backup for vet minimum. But
it's pretty interesting that here recently he also adds Sendejo to his list. So
yeah, true.
I'm gonna take Sendejo from him.
All right.
All right. Next question. Do you think that teams who are upbidding other teams purposefully have a better or worse team than most?
That's tough. I mean, I don't think we've had enough time to really digest everybody's roster. And I know a lot of people have been complaining, and I was one of them just because I've been, sniped at the very bottom by people before. But, Mark's come out and said usually when a lot of these players are coming up to be final bid on, he's just waking up, so that's his first opportunity to bid. So I know he's caught a lot of flack for it. But I think if we've looked at some people who have been bidding up, and I know from people who are bidding me up, so like Damien has bid me up quite a bit. Aaron of the Jets has bid a few of my guys up last minute. I don't know if I would say they have better teams for it because it just ends up, like for me, I just went back and rebid. It's annoyance to me. But I think it's too early to say they have a good roster or bad roster. I don't think it's really caught anybody. Nobody's been caught in like a bid that was like so extreme that the owner is like, all right, you take him. Like, that's too much money for me.
Except
I was battling Matt the whole time, and then when he hit $14 million, I was like, yeah, you can fucking have him.
I don't know. Danielle Hunter, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Peru, what are you doing, man? All right. Next question. Biggest bargain on all of your teams. I can go first because I read the question first. So I was looking. If you guys want to take a second. I think the biggest bargain that I personally got. It's a tough call for me. I think it's either between Jeremy Maclin for $7 million or Steve Smith for $1.6 million. Now, I know Steve Smith is only going to play for like one more year, but I mean he put up huge numbers before he got injured last year. So if he plays and he puts up anywhere even near that, 1.6 for that kind of production is awesome. If he doesn't, then whatever. I only used 1.6 million on him. So it's between that and Jeremy Maclin.
This one's a pretty boring answer, but the New Orleans Saints offensive line, like at $800,000, money. That's a pretty boring answer, but obviously another one is Carson Palmer for $6.5. It's pretty damn good, but I was pretty pumped that I got the Saints offensive line for $800,000.
Yeah, Spencer's over this.
How many points?
He's in the bargain bin at Goodwill, and he pulled out a fucking cubic zirconium ring. He's like, yes! That's a
That was
dime.
like my third player I picked up with the Saints offensive line.
You nominated an offensive line that early?
No, somebody else did. I took him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't nominate until like fucking Tuesday.
I'm going to say for me, I think the obvious choice is probably Alfred Morris for $4 million.
Yeah, it's a landslide, the obvious choice.
Yeah,
That's pretty obviously the choice.
he's going to be the one. And then this may, I'm debating between two. I think Richard Rodgers was another guy I kind of snuck away with. He started becoming Aaron Rodgers, a pretty good target for him at the end of the year. And then I want to say KJ Wright just because I snuck him in with all the rest of the top linebackers and paid at least $2 million less than them. So I consider that a bargain for what he can do.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last question from Luke is, who do you regret, or which player do you regret signing to your team? And I mean, for me at least, it's like I only bid on the players I wanted, so I'm really not regretting any of them. The only one that I regret even slightly is probably Trey Waynes, not because I think he's a bad cornerback, but because I accidentally typed in too high of a bid and I wound up paying more than I wanted for him, and then I realized I had 5 Vikings. And then he went all the way through. So, I mean, that would be really my only regret because everybody else, I bid on them because I wanted them, not because I was trying to fuck somebody else over.
Mine's probably either Delaney Walker. I really wanted him, but I had a hard limit in my mind, and I went over it and paid $11.5 for him. But besides that, Ronnie Hillman. Paid probably too much at 4.1 for him, but I still think he'll pay off. But as it sits right now, he's not a good value.
I think mine is going to be a safety in Will Allen. When I bid him, I forgot that he was our backup who replaced Shamarko Thomas. And so I wish I hadn't gone after him, but at least now I have both Shamarko and Will Allen, so he's probably my biggest regret. Otherwise, like Travis said, I bid all these players because these are the players I wanted, so I'm pretty happy with them. There's not many regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it from Luke. So
I got one in the Slack chat. Who wins each division? We played this game before and everybody hated it. But
also, it's way too early to tell. Rosters aren't even finished.
all right, you have to wait, Jason.
Yeah, sorry, man. Wait till the auction's over, and then we'll revisit that question. But
And do it in like 5 minutes instead of 6 hours like you did.
well,
other
and see,
times.
the problem is we have people in this league like Nils, and mostly just him, that trade all the fucking time. So it's like, but he trades with so many other people that nobody's roster is the same by the time the season rolls around. Like we tried to do it last year as like a lead up to the season, and it just didn't. It didn't work because the rosters just weren't even close really to what they were. A lot of people made a lot of like big name moves, and it was just too hard to predict.
Yeah. We'll table that one until the auction's over.
Yep. All right, we got one from Mr. Vasquez. Oh boy, here we go.
Fucking Q&A session.
What?
Oh
yeah. This is basically just a fucking Q&A. I like this forum. It's good. Sup, EG Musketeers. So since I can rarely catch a show live, I hope you opened with, you know who we are, now sit down, shut up, and let us do the talking. We did not. We didn't, but we should have. Okay, question number 1. Spencer, you have drafted a gang of tight ends. How do you feel about your offense today? I know we're a long way from kickoff.
I feel like I have a gang of tight ends. And value at the running back position, and I think I can make it work. Season's not even close to the beginning. We got still plenty of draft left and rookie draft, so I like it so far.
All right, next question. Spencer, Telvin Smith is in Baltimore. Turns out he was a traitor all along. I know your pain. Shithead Nate took my boy Coleman. But seriously, do you care that you lost your boy or not at all?
I would have loved to have Telvin Smith on my team. I had the foolish notion of me hopefully getting him for like $7 or $8 million, which once the auction started and I saw things were going, I knew that was not going to happen. But as Matt's referring to, I have Telvin Smith in another league, and despite the fact that I do really like him, I don't want to own Telvin Smith in every IDP league I own. In case the fact he goes down, then I'm fucked in every single league.
Diversified, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. But I compensated by getting the player that I've wanted for all of last year in Stephon Anthony. And I don't think he'll put up as many points as Telvin, but I think he'll be right in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I just want to say, Matt, after I took Coleman, Matt was like, or him and I had a chat about him taking Telvin Smith from Spencer. He's like, Spencer's going to be so mad. And then literally as soon as I take Coleman, Matt just goes off the deep end.
This is a totally separate topic.
Oh, I'm going to take so many at him.
Yeah, I'm glad we're past that. So
Coleman.
I'm glad we're past this topic. All right, next question. Nate, you're clearly dickface for taking Coleman at almost $8 million. You know my only act of revenge will be Star Trek 3, the Search for Spock movie review assignment, right?
Yes, and that will be miserable. But I'll take it for the team, and I'll let everyone know how crappy Matt's movies are, just to spare them from ever having to waste their time.
All right, so next question. Travis, you have shit at QB. What's the plan? I feel like I've talked about this. Can we see a QB come off the board as early as number 6? My plan was either to trade for one of the QBs that people paid, I forget who it was, but, somebody's got Drew Brees and Brandon Roethlisberger. Somebody's trying to move Kirk Cousins. So it's like, there was QBs available if I wanted to trade for him, but I don't really feel like giving up picks. So that's why I went after Bradford. He's not a great option, but he's serviceable. At least I can start him and not be like... he's on a team, so that's good. QB come off the board as early as 6? Probably not. I'm not overly enamored with any of the QBs in this draft, so might just try to stick it out. Either try to trade for one or stick it out for a year and see what comes up in the next draft, maybe. But yeah, that's why I picked up Bradford. So we'll see. Next question: what do you guys make of Brad paying $17 million for David Johnson and flipping him already?
I was initially I wasn't surprised when I saw the trade come across, and it included Brad. But I am surprised because it was at Houston. Or who did he trade with again? It was.
I'll check quick.
Can't remember. But anyway, he gets not Derek McFadden. He gets
DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, DeMarco Murray. Gets DeMarco Murray for who?
Lewis with the Broncos.
Okay, so he realistically he bent Lewis over a little bit, and DeMarco Murray's not anything to be proud of, and even though he's $12 million, I think he probably will have a bounce back year just because he'd be on a slightly better team. But to throw in a second round draft pick and take on $7 million more cap space for a guy who I think was overpaid in the beginning. I think it's another one of those moves that will go down in Brad's history of him just, taking advantage of someone else.
Yeah, I saw that trade and I was upset.
My biggest thing about it is, if you wanted David Johnson, you're willing to pay $17 million. Fucking bid on him and get him for $17 million and keep the fifth-round pick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the way I looked at it. Like all these people, there's a lot of people that they went into the draft with the intention of getting players and with the intention of trading those players. They got 4 picks. Whenever, I know they, it's just part of their strategy. But whenever somebody sends me a fucking offer of somebody that I was bidding on, and then they outbid me, and then they send me an offer for that player for a pick, I'm just like, go fuck yourself. I'm automatically not accepting that fucking trade. I don't give a shit.
Well, to be fair, we don't know who actually submitted the offer. I know.
No, true. That's very true. It could be another situation of Brad just fucking dropping golden eggs out of his ass.
Yeah, it could be
just throwing him fucking offers like from God.
So.
That had to have been Brad.
Yeah,
crazy.
The thing is, I think DeMarco Murray will do well. I don't know. I don't think he's going to do David Johnson well, but I think he'll do well enough. And the fact that he got a second-round pick along with it is crazy.
Yeah. If it was straight up or 2 players for David Johnson, I would see it. But when you throw in picks for something that you had equal right to grab, as in David Johnson in the auction, but you didn't, and you didn't for hopefully a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We have an answer here. Brad sent the original offer. Lewis declined it and then resent it, the same offer. Back.
Okay. All right. Well,
enough about that because that's just it upsets everybody.
We're pretty
Brad
unanimous in our decision on this.
Wiggle his fingers around everybody.
We'll see what happens. A lot of times these trades are, they're difficult to gauge. But on paper, this one looks not great.
How many trade offers do you think Lewis is going to get in the next 24 hours?
He needs to just shut off notifications and hide. All right. Next question. I need a vote here. I've been holding back, but can I officially go after Gangrene Aaron? I don't know. He seems like an alright guy to me. He's not on the chat a lot, but people have said he's kind of a shyer dude. He's been here for the draft, and I have seen him talk. Seems like a funny guy. I don't know. I guess I don't see the problem, man.
Franchise?
What?
What is it about the Jets franchise? Just a bunch of shut-ins.
Yeah, the Jets franchise.
A bunch of introverts.
Terrible name. We can't find a good Jets owner.
It's a shame.
So,
yeah,
well,
I don't hold much hope for him in that tough AFC East, especially when he finished the Keenan Allen 500, and that is one of his best players on his team, but way overpaid for him, in my opinion. He's got some decent guys, but...
You think so? I think Keenan Allen is a fucking monster.
For $17 million, though, he's like the 3rd highest paid wide receiver.
Yeah. He put up ridiculous numbers before he got injured. Like, absolutely fucking ridiculous.
How much did you pay for Landry? Like 13?
14.
14. I would way much take Landry over Keenan Allen. They're both just huge target monsters, and they what would Keenan Allen have before he got injured? He was averaging probably 8 to 10 targets a game, and so was Landry. I'm just pulling these numbers out of my ass, but I know he had a shit ton of targets, and he just is a receiver by volume. They just keep chucking him the ball because they have no other option.
Yeah.
Not that San Diego's going to have a lot more options this year, but I just don't have a ton of faith in him.
Yeah, well, here, let me see what he was averaging per game, because I know it was crazy. Yeah, he was averaging just shy of 23 points a game before he got injured.
But how many targets?
His targets were... Where the fuck did he go? There he is. He had 89 targets in 8 games. Yeah, so he was averaging almost 11 targets a game.
Yeah, that's fucking bananas. There's not a lot of receivers.
Actually, how the fuck does math work that over 11 targets a game?
Yeah. So he's just a receiver by volume, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of volume.
And he only caught 75% of them.
Yeah. I don't know, man. 89 fucking targets in a half a season. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it for the mailbag.
Oh my god, that was like an hour.
Yeah, that was like 45 minutes of just mailbag.
Mailbag episode. Everybody wanted to get in on this action.
Yeah, and all those mailbag questions came within like a 4-hour time span today.
They were great. I like that when we get people to send us questions because it gives us something a little bit extra to talk about, something a little different than everybody else. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. It's good to get opinions and questions from different viewpoints.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see the broader perspective, what other people are thinking as well. So.
How much? Go ahead.
I was going to say, obviously we're a little bit skewed to the AFC because we're all being in the AFC. But if anybody wants to shoot us some NFC questions, we're happy to take a look. We just, especially during draft time, are a little preoccupied and don't dig into the NFC as much. But also, if you'd like to be a guest and give us some NFC perspective, or somebody else in the AFC, feel free to shoot us an email at educatedguessesshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I think again, NFC owners, it would be nice to see some of you who don't, if you don't already have a show, hop on here and make yourself known to the rest of the league. I think that's what we're all here for, is to get to know each other beyond just what we type in Slack. So.
And the nice thing about our show is
it's live.
Yeah, it's live. Anybody can just come on and do whatever. We're pretty casual. I think we planned for maybe 5 minutes before the show. So
I don't know. I did longer than that because we were going to do the underpay overpay thing, but
I think we have a little bit of time left, don't we? We started.
Yeah. Quick.
I think we go into what were our first kind of question was. We were going to look at 3 kind of free agencies, actual NFL free agent moves that we loved, and then free agents moves that we hated. So this is actual NFL. This has nothing to do with the IFL. So I'm just going to go first. My top 3 that I love is Danny Trevathan to the Bears. I think that Bears defense has been down for quite a few years. And so to get a guy like that in there, I think will help solidify that defense. I know they picked up a couple other guys, but I think he's a special talent. And so I think he'll do well there. Lamar Miller was another one I liked going to Houston. I think Houston has done a good job at actually giving or making their running backs, like giving them a nice workload. And I think when Lamar Miller was in Miami, he didn't always get the workload that he deserved. And then my last one is probably the most obvious, is Alfred Morris to Dallas. I think he'll easily take the starting job from Darren McFadden, even though Darren McFadden had a good year. Alfred Morris is a little bit younger, a little bit less wear on the wheels there. So I think he'll be a nice addition to that Cowboys backfield. The 3 moves I hate: Chris Ivory to the Jags. Ivory, he's been off and on throughout his career. He had a really good year last year, which kind of put him over the edge. But he runs so hard and so brutal that I don't think he's going to be able to hold up for much longer, considering he is getting up there in age a little bit. Plus, I just like Yeldon there. I think Yeldon had a tough time transitioning, and I think that's a little unfair just to bring in Chris Ivory and automatically assume that he's going to be the starter when Yeldon was a suitable back. He just struggled punching him in the red zone. Travis Benjamin, the wide receiver that went to the Chargers. I know John is super in love with this guy, but he's a small guy. He's under 6 foot. He's only 175 pounds. And he's a one-trick pony. He's a deep ball guy. So he's catching less than 50% of his balls. And he's relying on those deep passes. So I'm not a fan of him because I don't think that fits Phillip Rivers' game as much. And I think he's also got some other wide receivers there that is going to take the majority of the passes. And then my last move I hate is just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers keeping Doug Martin and paying him. Yeah, he had a really good year last year and he deserved to get paid. But I think we've kind of seen what he can do, and I don't know if he's going to be able to replicate what he did last year. So those are my 3 moves I love and 3 moves I hate of the free agency so far.
Spence, you want to go next? Or you want me to?
Sure. Well, I was a little bit contradictory to Nathan on Ivory. I think he will have a good year or two in Jacksonville. They signed him to like a 5 or 6 year deal. I doubt he's going to last that long. He's 28, so he is getting up there, but I still think he's got a couple of years in him. He does run hard, but I like it. I hope Yeldon does get some third down back touches, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ivory misses a couple of games and Yeldon shows some life. But overall I like it. My next one is Cousins staying in Washington, obviously being franchise tagged. I like him as a quarterback, but I don't know if he can recreate that magic on another team, especially a team that's less complete than the Redskins, which is kind of odd to say. But I think of some of the quarterback-hungry teams outside of Denver, they're one of the better teams out there. So I liked him staying in Washington. Also being franchise tagged, I really like Alshon Jeffrey. If he would have left Chicago, I think they would have been devastated. They lost Matt Forte. They lost Brandon Marshall the year before. And that was kind of their identity as their big offensive players. And I guess they lost Martellus Bennett as well. So from the powerful Bears offense, especially in the fantasy perspective we saw 2 years ago, he's the only remaining player left. So if they would have lost him, I think it would have been pretty devastating. People are still holding out hope with Kevin White, but we have yet to see it, obviously, with the injuries. So I think that would have been pretty devastating if they lost Jeffrey. So I like him staying in Chicago. And were we going with the worst 3 IFL signings?
No, the worst 3 free agency moves that you...
Yeah, in the NFL still.
Oh, shit, in the NFL. Let's go with Kobe Fleener leaving the Colts. Never been a big Kobe Fleener fan, but I think he can do even less moving on from Indy. Brock Osweiler, not a big fan of that move. I understand why he wanted to move. I think the team overall is maybe on the up as opposed to Denver, but I think he would have been better off staying with Elway. I guess they couldn't have franchise tagged him. I don't know if I would have signed a long-year deal, but I was a little skeptic on that move. And we'll go with... I like the RG3 move. I can't think of any other ones. Overall, I kind of like free agency so far.
Okay, Travis?
All right, the 3 I liked Osemele to the Raiders, the offensive tackle. They needed O-line help a lot, and I mean Carr has showed a lot of promise in his first 2 years. He's a fucking gunslinger. Like, he reminds me of like Favre mixed with Aaron Rodgers, but young. So, like, he'll take the fucking deep shots, and it's fun to watch when he does get to do that. So I think the offensive line will, help him shore up a little bit, make sure he actually has that extra half second, that extra second to make a big play. So I like that signing. I like Matt Forte to the Jets. I think he'll do really well there. I mean, there's a lot of targets that open up the field, and like Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. That's a good 1-2 punch, and Forte is he's great. He's a great pass catching back. So if you need somebody, if a dump off pass one of those 2 guys isn't open, he's awesome at that. I mean, obviously he's only going to be there for couple of years at best. But I mean, I still like the signing because they were close to the playoffs this year. They should have made it, but what can you do? The other one I like Ladarius Green to the Steelers. Actually, I think Ladarius Green was underutilized in San Diego, mostly because he was usually playing second fiddle to Antonio Gates. And so when they signed Gates, I think it made sense for Green to move on. And I think with Roethlisberger slinging it, because he's fast, I think with Roethlisberger slinging it to him, he'll put up some pretty decent numbers. The moves I don't like, I don't really like the Malik Jackson deal. I think he got paid way too much just because teams had cap money. I mean, they got to spend it somewhere, but I think he got way overpaid. I think he benefited from a fantastic supporting cast, and that kind of inflated his value. I don't like Kiko Alonso to the Dolphins, mostly just because he hasn't done much. He's very injury prone. He hasn't really proved that he's really worth anything. So, I don't know. I don't understand multiple teams trading for him. I also don't like Janoris Jenkins to the Giants. I think he's an overrated quarterback. A lot of times he'll make good plays. He'll try to ball hawk the quarterback and he'll jump a route, but he gets burned for it a lot too. So I think his value as a quarterback is also overrated, and he got overpaid for what his actual skill level is. So those are the three I like and the three I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right.
That's it. I assume
all.
that's pretty much time.
Yeah.
We just hit an hour.
Pretty good timing then.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else you want to say?
You got any more baseball players you want to discuss, Nathan?
I got any more what?
Baseball players?
I mean, if you all have been following spring training, I think one guy that I've at least taken interest in, and I think some of you should be taking interest in, I think you should take a closer look at, is the new Minnesota Twin player, the Korean. So if you haven't taken a close look to Byung-ho, I think he's a great one to look at. Just because I think Byung-ho, your Byung-ho is pretty good, picture to kind of imagine. But he's been knocking them out of the park. I think Byung-ho hit a grand slam, but a home run in his second game. So I think Byung-ho is kind of my week 2 baseball player that you need to keep your eye on.
Is he pretty young?
I don't remember his age yet.
Is it a pretty young Byung-ho?
It might be a pretty young Byung-ho. I know some announcers have said that they kind of feel his swing, that Byung-ho's swing is a little tight. So I think that's something that he's going to have to work on and kind of really try and improve during spring.
Loosen up a little bit?
Is what?
Just loosen up a little bit?
Yeah, just loosen up a little bit. So if Byung-ho can loosen up, I think he'll be a good addition for the Minnesota Twins. Apparently he's 29, so he's not young. Luke is on top of his Byung-ho, if we didn't know that already. So yeah, that's all I got for baseball.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're keeping us on top of it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for.
All right. You want to play us out? We'll see you guys next week or the week after or whenever.
True. Whenever the fuck we show up again.
Peace.
See ya.
Oops. Uh-oh. I gotta find our outro. Here we go.
Just sing it.
How much must I repeat? We only play for keeps. No timeouts, no free throws, no reps, no penalties, no handouts, no pit stops, no cheat codes, no sleep. But the drinks are on us. If you with it, then pull up a seat.
Let's hug it out, bitch.